Hello, everybody. Thank you for watching The Political Vigilante. This article was suggested by Patreon supporter Tim Stack. If you come in at the $5 and up level, you get your name mentioned and you get to pick an article for me to discuss. Tim, thank you so much. You've been supporting the show since day one. Really appreciate it. He picked an article in the New Yorker that was written by Robin Wright on August 4th. Why is Donald Trump still so horribly witless about the world? Now, this isn't just, somebody on the left saying Donald Trump is so dumb. What is happening is this article goes into a bunch of conservatives and Republicans who are just pointing to his foreign policy and going, what is going on? One of them is Max Boot, a lifelong conservative who advised 3 Republican presidential candidates on foreign policy, keeps a folder labeled Trump stupidity file on his computer. It's next to his Trump lies file. Not sure which is larger at this point, he told me this week. It's neck and neck. So this goes into, and this guy, Max Boot, is a senior fellow at the Council on Foreign Relations, and, the newbie excuse isn't working anymore. There's some other people that are interviewed in this article and they make great points. And again, it's just, if we had real leadership, if we had real progressives, if we had a Democratic Party that actually listened to the people rather than corporations, we wouldn't even be in this position. Donald Trump was the most beatable candidate I have ever seen in my life. But I want to read you some other quotes from Jeffrey Kemp, who worked at the Pentagon during the Ford administration and the National Security Council during the Reagan administration, said, Trump has an appalling ignorance of the current world, of history, of previous American engagement, of what former presidents thought and did. Worked for Ford and Reagan. Ford was on the Warren Commission, right? That cover up the JFK assassination group, and Reagan, who's done fine work. These guys are saying Trump is a jackass. He has an almost studious rejection of the type of in-depth knowledge that virtually all of his predecessors eventually gained or had views on. So here's another one. Michael Hayden, a retired 4-star general and former director of both the CIA and the National Security Agency, told me he's impatient, decision-oriented, and prone to action. It's all about the present tense. When he asks what the hell's going on in Iraq, people around him have learned not to say, well, in 1632, which is like when Muhammad died, and the Prophet Muhammad died, and then beginning of the Sunni-Shia split. He doesn't have an interest in the world, Hayden said. Retired 4-star general is saying this. The reporter asked top Republican and intelligence officials from 8 administrations what they thought was the one thing the president needs to grasp to succeed on the world stage. Their various replies: embrace the fact that the Russians are not America's friends. Don't further alienate the Europeans, who are our friends. Encourage human rights, a founding principle of American identity. But we're kind of violating human rights by bombing poor people in like 7 or 8 countries and shoot our own citizens, and we don't give our own citizens drinkable water. We treat our homeless like filthy rats when they could have everything they wanted. We don't even take care of our vets. Stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, America's got the human rights. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt this fine human being saying stuff. And don't make priority visits to governments that curtail them, such as Poland, Saudi Arabia. Understand that North Korea's nuclear program can't be outsourced to China, which can't or won't single-handedly fix the problem anyway, and realize that military options are limited. Pulling out of innovative trade deals like the Trans-Pacific Partnership, well, wait a minute, TPP's bullshit. So, all right, let's easy now. So this is how bad Trump is. I don't agree with that. It's just, here's the most recent blunder. But again, this is the thing. Now, this is through the filter of the New Yorker. So one of the things we've talked about a lot on this show, and in reference to hedges, is one of the ways that liberal elites have sold out the working people and average people in general is by selling how great globalization is. So that little TPP line is an indication of that. TPP is awful. It's not good for people. There's a couple little instances where people did get some benefits. I did a story many months ago about how cattle ranchers in Texas were kind of benefiting from it. Okay, I'm sure some people benefited, but overall it's not good. And globalization has just screwed over the American worker. When you screw over the American worker and don't give them any alternatives other than, hey, you should just go to college like upper middle class whites do. Hear that, working class whites? Then working class whites go to a demagogue like Trump. And you have like some Korean or World War II vet gave him his Purple Heart. 4-star generals say he's an idiot, doesn't know what he's talking about, but they're so disgusted and dismayed by anything the Democrats and the left have done that they do this. Not to mention there's a healthy dose of racism that runs all through America. America's a very racist country. But let's not jump too much on this New Yorker article. There's some good points, and I love hearing the quotes from like generals and Republicans calling out, but let's not say TPP is that fantastic. But here's the latest blunder was made during an appearance in the Rose Garden with Lebanon's Prime Minister Saad Hariri on July 25th. Lebanon is on the front lines in the fight against ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and Hezbollah, Trump pronounced. He got the basics wrong. Hezbollah is actually part of the Lebanese government and has been for a quarter century with seats in parliament and cabinet posts. Lebanon's Christian president, Michael Aoun, has been allied with Hezbollah for a decade. As Trump spoke, Hezbollah's militia and the Lebanese army were fighting ISIS and an al-Qaeda affiliate occupying a chunk of eastern Lebanon along its border with Syria. They won. Oh. Did the mainstream media call him out on this? Did Fox News call him out? Did anyone point this out? Did most Americans even know any of this? Just neoliberals reading the New Yorker? No offense, Tim Stack. You're not a neoliberal. This is a fine article. In March, he charged that Germany owed vast sums to the United States and NATO. It does not. No NATO member pays the United States and never has, so none is in arrears. In an interview with the Wall Street Journal in April, Trump claimed that Korea actually used to be part of China. He's so stupid. He's so stupid. Oh. And the worst crime of stupid people is they think they're smart. And then this is a guy who's failed upwards his whole life and now thinks I'm the president. And then people believe him. And no, when the media is too stupid to call him on it, his followers are like, yeah, Korea was part of China. David Gordon, the director of the State Department's policy planning staff under Condoleezza Rice, during the Bush administration, told this reporter, the sheer scale of his lack of knowledge is what has astounded me, and I had low expectations to begin with. It's a fascinating read to just see, well, first of all, you get to see how, the New Yorker can kind of spin things, obviously, but to hear these quotes from these actual people it's interesting to see, and just shows Trump doesn't know what to do. And it's all the more reason, I say this almost every video, to get real progressives in power. So we don't have to listen to this stupid line of ridiculous nonsense that is insulting to all of our ears. It's insulting to this country, it's insulting to the world, and it's insulting to the human race. Tim Stack, thank you for being a Patreon backer. Thank you for submitting this article. Anyone, you can submit. That tier actually might be sold out, but for $5 level, we're starting to do bonus audio content. The first 2 episodes of the podcast are on iTunes. If it's Political Vigilante Podcast, it's in the news section. It is not in the comedy section. Patreon.com/GrandMel with link is below. Like, subscribe, and share these videos. You guys are great.